Zhou Yuan finally remembered that he had a wife who had just given birth. Holding the rose, which served merely as a perfunctory gesture, he pretended to be hurrying home after a long journey, but the nanny who opened the door looked terrified. Trembling, she said, "Sir, your wife took the little girl and left 13 days ago." The smile on Zhou Yuan's face froze. "I'm keeping track of the time. Today is the day Zhou Yuan returns to the country, with 13 hours of flight time, plus another hour to get from the airport home. He'll probably push open the cold doors of that villa around 4 in the afternoon. My new home faces south, so there's plenty of sunlight. The heating's turned up high. My daughter lies in my arms, sleeping soundly. Her little face is rosy, and her breathing is regular. I can almost imagine what Zhou Yuan looks like right now. He'll be wearing a well-fitted coat. In his hand, he'll hold a bouquet of champagne roses. It's his usual trick, using a trivial gesture to cover up his 5-week neglect of me. He'll look tired, but there'll be that smug smile on his lips, as if he controls everything. When he opens the door, he'll habitually call my name, Song Ci, or maybe, honey. He'll think that, just as I've done countless times before. I'll go to greet him, holding our newborn daughter in my arms. I'll take his coat and put slippers on him. Then, I'll listen to his tired excuses for why he had to go to Paris because of some very important business deal. For the sake of the company's future, he won't mention Su Wan at all. He thinks I know nothing. Aunt Wang will come out of the kitchen, looking panicked, with a trembling voice. She'll tell him, "Sir, your wife took the little girl and left 13 days ago." Zhou Yuan's smile will fade slowly. The roses in his hands will fall to the ground. He'll rush upstairs like a furious lion. And then, he'll see a house that's been completely emptied out. In the master bedroom, all my clothes, jewelry, and skincare products have disappeared. The wardrobe was mostly empty, as if someone had cut out a piece of it with a knife. The baby's room was even more devastated. The baby bed, cradle, clothes, diapers, formula, all traces of a new life that once existed here were gone. All that remained was an empty room and the smell of dust. He'd find the divorce agreement on the nightstand, already signed by me. My name, Song Ci, was written clearly and decisively. He'd go crazy. He'd experience panic for the first time. Thinking of this, I lowered my head and kissed my daughter's warm forehead. "Baby, we're free now." On the day we left that house, the weather was nice. Just like today, there was warm sunshine. 2 days after Zhou Yuan flew to Paris, I finished my postpartum confinement. I still felt weak, but my mind was never clearer. I didn't cry, nor did I feel any regret. That villa was never really a home to me. It was merely a sample room that Zhou Yuan used to showcase his success, and I was just the cheapest piece of furniture in that room. I called a moving company. On the phone, I calmly told them that there wasn't much to move, but everything was small and scattered. They asked for the old and new addresses. I gave them both. After hanging up, I began to pack my things. I took only what belonged to me and everything I had prepared for my daughter. I didn't touch any of the jewelry and bags Zhou Yuan had given me. They remained locked in the safe, just like our marriage, which was also locked away. Aunt Wang watched in horror. She asked carefully, "Madam, what are you doing? Your husband will be angry when he gets back." I smiled. "Aunt Wang, he won't be angry. He'll just think I'm no longer a hindrance to him." I gave Aunt Wang more money than her annual salary. I said, "Thank you for taking care of me all these years." She held the card, at a loss for what to do. In the end, she simply said, "Madam, you're a good person." The moving company arrived quickly. The workers were efficient. In less than 2 hours, they had loaded everything into the truck. Holding my daughter, still in her swaddle, I took one last look at the empty living room. The crystal chandelier cast a cold glow. On the leather sofa, it seemed as though Zhou Yuan's body heat still lingered, but I knew it didn't belong to me. Before leaving, I placed the divorce agreement on the nightstand in the master bedroom, in the most prominent spot. I even thoughtfully left a pen there for him. I got into the car and told the driver to drive away. As the car left the villa complex, I didn't look back. The 7 years of marriage rushed through my mind like a long movie playing in reverse. From our passionate love in college to his proposal after graduation. From the hardships of his startup days to the company's successful listing. I once thought we were partners who shared joys and sorrows. But later I realized his world grew bigger and bigger. while mine consisted only of him. When I was pregnant, I suffered from severe morning sickness. He used his busy work as an excuse and came home less and less often. I went to all the prenatal checkups alone, and endured cramps in the middle of the night with my big belly, on the day our daughter was born. He waited outside the delivery room. I thought he was worried about me, but when I was brought out, he glanced at the baby and his first words were, "Is it a boy or a girl?" When the doctor told him it was a girl, the light in his eyes dimmed instantly. He stayed in the hospital for only one day. The next day, he told me there was an urgent project in Paris that required his immediate attention. By then, Soo-won had already posted a photo of herself under the Eiffel Tower on her social media, with the caption, "It's great to have you here, Jo-yoon. Look, your attempts at deception aren't very clever. Or maybe, you simply don't bother to put any effort into it at all." At 4:05 p.m., my phone rang on time. The caller ID showed Jo-yoon. I stared at that name, calmly hung up, then turned off the phone and removed the SIM card. It was all done in one smooth motion. A brand new, unopened SIM card lay on the coffee table beside me. I replaced the old card with the new one effortlessly. I had only informed 3 people of my new phone number: my parents, my lawyer, and my best friend, Chen Jing. After finishing everything, the room fell silent once again. My daughter was still sleeping, so I gently placed her back in the crib. I sat down at the desk and turned on my laptop. On the screen was the business plan I had revised countless times. Before marriage, I had been a client director at a top advertising firm. Jo-yoon said I didn't need to work so hard, I would support me. So, I took care of the household and gave up my career and dreams. Now, I'm going to retrieve them all, one by one. Jo-yoon's calls would probably keep bombarding my now inactive number. Like a madman trying to get through, he'd realize that he couldn't reach me. Then, he'd call my parents. I had already prepared them in advance. My parents are honest and intelligent people. At first, they were shocked and confused by my decision to divorce. I asked them one question: if your daughter went through hell to give birth to a child, while her husband was with another woman enjoying the snow, would you still want her to stay in that marriage? There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Finally, my father spoke in a firm tone I'd never heard from him before. "Cece, come home. Your parents will take care of you." I said, "Dad, no need. I can handle it myself. I'll raise your granddaughter better than anyone else." I knew that if Jo-yoon called, my father would scold him harshly. He'd be met with rejection. After that, he'd probably call Chen Jing. I could completely predict Chen Jing's reaction. She'd probably answer the phone, use the most vicious words imaginable to insult Jo-yoon from head to toe, and then hang up right when he was stunned. Over the past few years, Chen Jing had constantly criticized him in front of me. She said, "Song Ci, you're completely blinded by greed. A man like Jo-yoon only thinks about himself." I used to refuse to believe her, but now, I do. When all other paths are blocked, Jo-yoon will resort to his resources. He'll hire private detectives, check my bank account transactions, and obtain my ID information. He thinks money can solve everything. He thinks I'll be helpless without him. I opened my mobile banking app and smiled at the 7-figure balance in my account. This money was saved over the years from the living expenses Jo-yoon gave me. He always thug. I was just a housewife who didn't understand numbers at all. He doesn't know that my major in college was finance. Every penny he gave me was carefully planned and invested. The moment I decided to leave, I transferred all the money from my accounts to a new account opened under my mother's identity card. As for my own identity card, I'm sorry, Jo-yoon. There's a service in this world called full power of attorney. My lawyer will take care of everything. If you try to find me, you'll find that my personal information has simply disappeared. I turned off the computer and walked over to the window. The sunset filled the room with warmth. Meanwhile, dozens of kilometers away, Jo-yoon was probably in complete darkness. He would keep calling my phone. From anger at first, to impatience, and then to panic he wasn't even aware of. He might break something, maybe the crystal ashtray on the table, or a painting on the wall. He needed loud noises to cover up the emptiness and sense of loss inside him. He would sit on that empty bed, realizing for the first time just how large and cold the house really was. He tried to remember what the house looked like when I was still there, but he couldn't, because he never cared. In his memory, I was always a vague figure, a gentle, ever-waiting shadow. He began to wonder where I had gone. He thought of every place I might have gone. My parents' house, Chen Jing's house, the cities we had visited. He sent people to look for me, but all they got were negative answers. This process could last days or weeks. His patience gradually wore away. Would he regret it? I don't know. Perhaps what he regretted wasn't losing me, but losing someone who took care of the household chores and provided him with a stable foundation from which he could pursue his own pleasures outside. His ego and need for control were being challenged like never before. That's what caused all his panic. He doesn't love me. He simply can't accept that something that belongs to him would actually leave him on its own. My phone vibrated. It was a text from Chen Jing. Done. That jerk called just now. I gave him the worst scolding. I bet he's sitting there, staring at his phone now. Great. I sent her a smiling emoji in reply. Well done. Chen Jing called right away. Cece, have you settled in? How's the child? Everything's fine. Don't worry. Good. Listen. Zhou Yuan's voice sounded like he was about to cry. Such a hypocrite. He said things like, "Is Song Ci with you? Tell her to pick up the phone. There's some misunderstanding between us." Pa. What kind of misunderstanding? How come he didn't think about any misunderstandings when he was spending time with Su Wan in Paris? I listened quietly, feeling nothing inside. Jing. Don't be angry with him. It's not worth it. I'm not angry with him. I'm worried about you. Chen Jing's voice trembled. You just had a baby. Your body isn't fully recovered yet, and you still have to deal with these pointless problems. It's all in the past now. I said, I'm fine now. Really fine. Without Zhou Yuan, even the air seems fresher. Li Hang, Zhou Yuan's assistant, got in touch with my lawyer on the third day. It wasn't because Li Hang had some special powers, but because I instructed my lawyer to send a legal notice to Zhou Yuan's company. The message was simple. It informed Mr. Zhou Yuan that my client, Ms. Song Ci, had officially filed for divorce in court. All relevant documents were attached for his attention. I could imagine Zhou Yuan's reaction upon receiving this email. It must have been even more dramatic than when he found his house empty. He thought I was just acting up or playing tricks. He never expected that I would actually initiate legal proceedings. When Li Hang called my lawyer, his tone still carried Zhou Yuan's typical arrogance. Are you Lawyer Zhang? I'm President Zhou's assistant. President Zhou wants to talk to Ms. Song. There must be some misunderstanding here. My lawyer, Zhang Qi, is well known in the industry for his sharp wit. He's very experienced dealing with people like this. Attorney Zhang replied in a calm tone. Assistant Li. My client currently does not wish to have any personal contact with Mr. Zhou. All communications should be made through me. Also, this isn't a misunderstanding, a formal notice. Attorney Zhang, you might not be fully aware of Mr. Zhou's status. If this matter escalates, it will harm everyone involved. After all, couples often reconcile after arguing. Why go to such extremes? Li Hang continued to try to pressure him. My client is firm on her position. If Mr. Zhou refuses to agree to a divorce by agreement, then we'll meet in court. As for Mr. Zhou's status, I'm sorry, but everyone is equal before the law. With that, Attorney Zhang hung up the phone. He sent me the recording of the conversation. After listening, I found it ridiculous. At this point, all Zhou Yuan cared about was his reputation and status. He wasn't trying to win me back, just wanted to resolve the situation so it wouldn't become a stain on his impressive resume. That afternoon, Zhou Yuan called Attorney Zhang himself. This time, his voice was filled with suppressed anger. Let Song Ci answer the phone. He demanded almost angrily. Mr. Zhou, I've already said it. Please communicate with me regarding anything. I was her husband for 7 years. Now, do I not even have the right to speak to her? That's my client's wish. What does she want? Money. I'll give it to her. I have an apartment in the western part of the city that I can transfer to her name. I can also give her 5 of the company's shares. Just let her come back and stop causing trouble. Zhou Yuan's tone was as if he were dealing with a difficult business partner, using money and shares to measure our past. Attorney Zhang calmly repeated his conditions. I told Attorney Zhang. Reply to him. I want nothing else but a divorce and custody of our daughter. Attorney Zhang conveyed my words exactly as I said them. On the other end of the line, Zhou Yuan remained silent. After a long while, he finally spoke in a voice that sounded like he was gritting his teeth. She won't succeed. The child belongs to the Zhou family. She has no right to take him away. I expected him to say that. The child was his last bargaining chip. And also his most ridiculous excuse. How could a father who couldn't even remember how many days his own child had been born have any right to discuss custody? Attorney Zhang, tell him this. If he insists on fighting for custody, I'll present all the evidence of his infidelity during the marriage in court. This includes the real reason for his trip to Paris, records of him staying with Miss Su Wan, and the large transfers from his bank account to her. I think the media will be very interested in this information. I had collected these pieces of evidence over the past 6 months, quietly and carefully. Every time he came home late, every time he lied about being on a business trip, every time Su Wan boasted about things on social media. All became pieces of evidence in my hands. I thought these pieces of evidence would never be used. I once humbly hoped that he would come back. But while I was in agony in the delivery room, he was on the other side of the world, spending Valentine's Day with Su Wan. At that moment, my heart died. After Attorney Zhang conveyed my words to Zhou Yuan, he completely lost his temper. I heard his angry shouts and the sound of things being smashed on the phone. Song Ci. How dare you investigate me? Great job. Attorney Zhang calmly moved the phone away from his ear. After he calmed down, he said calmly, Mr. Zhou, it seems there's nothing more to discuss today. See you in court. After hanging up, Attorney Zhang sent me a message. Ms. Song. He's panicked. We have the upper hand now. I read the message, feeling nothing. This isn't a war, and I don't care about winning or losing. All I want is to get back my life, which rightfully belongs to me. In the days that followed, Zhou Yuan seemed to have disappeared. He didn't contact Attorney Zhang again. I guess he's using all his connections to verify the authenticity of the evidence I've provided. At the same time, he hasn't given up trying to find me and my daughter. Chen Jing told me that strange cars have been lingering outside her building these past few days. In my parents' neighborhood, too. People have been acting suspiciously and asking around. Zhou Yuan still doesn't understand. He thinks that finding me will solve everything. But he doesn't realize that the problem isn't where I am at all. The problem lies with him. On the 7th day, Su Wan called me from an unfamiliar number. When I answered, I said nothing. Her usual coquettish voice came through the line. Sister Song Ci. It's me. What do you want? My voice was cold. Yuan. He's not doing well these days. Business matters at the company have been neglected because of him. I know you're angry, but he really didn't mean to. That Paris project is important. He's doing this for the company. For your family. She tried to wash herself clean of any blame, while also trying to label me as being unreasonable. Miss Su. I interrupted her. What right do you have to tell me these things? On the other end of the line. She was momentarily stunned. I'm just concerned about him. As a friend. A friend. I laughed lightly. A friend who sleeps with him, who lets him buy her jewelry worth millions, and who lives in his wedding home. Su Wan's breathing became rapid. What are you talking about? You know very well whether I'm lying or not. I advise you to stay away from my affairs. Otherwise, the next legal notice will be sent to you. You'll be sued for ruining someone else's family. With that, I hung up and blocked her number. Wasting words on people like her is pointless. Su Wan's call was like a stone thrown into still water. It caused no ripples at all, but only made me more certain of how right my decision was. For a man to need another woman to convey messages when dealing with conflicts with his wife is nothing short of ironic and disrespectful. Zhou Yuan never treated me as an equal. In his eyes, I was no different from Aunt Wang, his driver, or any other employee who could be replaced. The only difference was that I gave birth to his child. And now, that child has become a tool he uses to control me. The week that followed was peaceful. There was no further news from lawyer Zhang regarding Zhou Yuan. I guessed correctly he must be doing everything in his power to verify the authenticity of the evidence I had. Given his personality, he wouldn't compromise easily unless faced with concrete threats. He was like a gambler, always believing the next card would turn the situation around for him. This peace was broken on the afternoon of the 8th day. Attorney Zhang called me, his tone serious. Ms. Song. Zhou Yuan has taken new action. What did he say? I was feeding my daughter, so I spoke in a hushed voice. He didn't say much. But he did something. Attorney Zhang explained that Zhou Yuan had used illegal means to freeze all my bank cards and credit cards. He's probably trying to cripple you financially, forcing you to contact him. I couldn't help but laugh. He underestimates me. Yes, I agree, said Attorney Zhang. I filed a complaint with the banks, along with evidence of his illegal actions. He made a mistake by playing that card. Thank you, Attorney Zhang. It's my duty, he replied. Also, there's one more thing. He's starting to contact some of our mutual friends, trying to find out information about you. And what happened? Those who truly care about you remained silent, and those who fawned over him couldn't even give a proper explanation. All he could conclude was this: you, Song Ci, have truly disappeared from his world. I wasn't surprised by this at all. After we got married, Zhou Yuan deliberately or inadvertently purged my social circle. He didn't like me associating with girls like Chen Jing. He preferred that my friends be the wives of his business partners. We'd sit together and talk about bags, jewelry, and how to keep our husbands loyal. For a while, I tried to fit in and become the perfect Mrs. Zhou. Looking back, I feel both pitiful and ridiculous. Ms. Song, he's at his wit's end. Next, he might resort to more extreme measures. Lawyer Zhang warned me. Like what? For example, turning to the media and portraying himself as a poor husband searching for his missing wife and child. Using public opinion to pressure you. He'll do that, I said calmly, for the sake of his reputation. He'll do anything. Zhou Yuan's company is preparing for its next round of financing. Scandals involving the founder's family are among the worst risks for the capital market. He needs to maintain his image as a family-loving, decent man. Do we have any plans to deal with this? I asked. The best approach is to do nothing at all, said Lawyer Zhang. The more he tries to act, the more mistakes he'll make. We have proof of his infidelity. That's our trump card, until he reveals his true intentions. Staying silent is the best strategy. I understand. After hanging up the phone, my daughter finished her milk and let out a contented burp in my arms. I held her, gently patting her back. Her tiny body was soft and smelled of milk. This is my whole world. Zhou Yuan. Do you really think freezing my bank account will trap me? Do you think cutting me off from society will isolate me? You forget who I am. Song Ci. Before I became your wife, who was I? I am my parents' proudest daughter. I'm a top student in finance from a prestigious university. I was once a professional who led teams to successful projects worth millions. I'm the woman you once pursued with great effort. I'm the one who became dependent on you. Now, I want to be myself again. That night, I had a dream. In the dream, I was back in that cold villa. Zhou Yuan stood in the middle of the living room, his eyes blood-red as he demanded an answer from me. Song Ci, why did you do this to me? I'll give you anything you want. Why do you have to destroy me? I looked at him, feeling completely estranged from him. I asked, Zhou Yuan, did you ever love me? He was stunned and didn't answer for a long time. I woke up. Outside the window, dawn was breaking. I touched my cheeks, they were cold. It turns out, I still shed one last tear for that lost love. But that's the end of it. Starting today, Song Ci will live for herself. On a sunny morning, my new company was officially registered. The name was simple. Cheatsy, meaning starting anew. Following Song Ci's example, I chose a shared office space for the company. The rent was reasonable, and the facilities were excellent. It was a great value for a startup like ours. I quickly put together a small, efficient team. 2 of the members were talented individuals I'd worked with in my previous advertising job. When they heard I was starting a business, they quit their jobs without hesitation to help me. Another member was Chen Jing, who recruited a talented tech expert to handle the company's online operations. Everything is difficult at the beginning, but seeing everyone working hard in the office, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in ages. During the day, I left my daughter in the care of a reliable nanny while I focused entirely on my work. At night, no matter how late it was, I would go home to bathe her, feed her, and put her to bed, smelling the sweet scent of milk on her body. All the fatigue of the day vanished. This is what life should be like. Full of purpose, warmth, and love. Chen Jing would visit me and the baby almost every other day. Every time she came, she brought bags and more bags of gifts, either imported toys for the baby or nourishing soups for me. Look at you. Your face has become so thin, she said, gently pinching my cheek. Don't work yourself too hard. Your health is the foundation of everything. I smiled and drank the chicken soup she brought me. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. By the way, let me tell you a piece of gossip, Chen Jing said in a hushed, mysterious tone. I heard that Su Wan hasn't been having a good time lately. Oh. Zhou Yuan stopped issuing her secondary card and took back the apartment he gave her in the city center. Someone saw her trying to confront Zhou Yuan's company employees outside the building. The security guards kicked her out. She looked really embarrassed. I said nothing. Just listen quietly. She really deserves it, Chen Jing said angrily. She thinks Zhou Yuan truly loves her. How naive. Men like him only love themselves. Being nice to her before was just for the sake of novelty. Now that something has happened to you, it'll affect his career and reputation. So, she's instantly gone from being his ideal partner to a stumbling block. Chen Jing's analysis was spot on. Zhou Yuan was exactly that kind of persona, complete egoist. In his eyes, everyone and everything could be measured in terms of value. What was useful stayed with him. What was useless or caused trouble was discarded immediately. Over the past 7 years, I had been the useful one, and Su Wan. Now she was the trouble. Do you think Zhou Yuan might already regret it? Chen Jing suddenly asked. I shook my head. He won't regret it. He's just angry that things are getting out of his control. True, Chen Jing nodded. It's easy to change the external circumstances, but hard to alter one's true nature. While we were talking, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar local number. I was a little puzzled, but still answered. On the other end of the line was a voice I didn't expect to hear. My ex-wife's mother. Zhou Yuan's mother. Her voice sounded tired and pleading. Xiao Ci. It's me, Auntie. Hello. I said calmly. Since I moved out, this was the first time she had reached out to me. Xiao Ci. I know Yuan has wronged you. She sighed. That worthless man. I'll scold him thoroughly when I get home. Please don't be angry with him. Okay. Her words were completely different from what I had expected, a confrontational reaction. Auntie, it's not about being angry or not. I know you've suffered. Her voice trembled. But the child is innocent. After all, you and Yuan are still married. What's the matter that we can't sit down and talk things out properly? Do we really have to go all the way to divorce? She tried to play the emotional card. She used our child and our past relationship to try to persuade me. It must be so hard for you to raise the child alone out there. Please come home. Okay. Mom will make the decision for you. Come home. That place was never my home. There. I was nothing more than a free nanny. A tool for having children. When I was pregnant, she never came to see me once. The reason was that she couldn't stand the smell of cooking fumes. And my house was always filled with the smell of soup being cooked. On the day I gave birth, she was actually in the city, but she didn't even set foot in the hospital. She said she was afraid of hospital germs. And now, she wants me to go home. Auntie, thank you for your concern, I said, emphasizing those 2 words. But I've made up my mind. My relationship with Zhou Yuan is over. You little brat. Why are you so stubborn? Her tone finally showed impatience. Have you been influenced by someone outside? Let me tell you. It'll be difficult for a divorced woman with a child to make ends meet in the future. You're still young, don't ruin your own future. I laughed. I'll create my own future. No need for you to worry about it. With that, I hung up the phone, unwilling to listen to any more of her clichés. Chen Jing stood by, stunned. Wow, this old lady can change her attitude faster than flipping through a book. She ignored you before, and now she's trying to plead with you. Where was she all along? I silenced my phone and set it aside. She's just desperate. Since Zhou Yuan couldn't convince me, he brought in his mother. He thought that by using his parental authority and traditional values, he could bring me under control. He still doesn't understand me. Any attempt to manipulate me with emotions only makes me dislike him even more. My mother-in-law's call was just the beginning. In the days that followed, I received calls from several intercessors. There was Zhou Yuan's aunt, our former mutual friends, and even one of his company's vice presidents. Their messages were strikingly similar. They started by apologizing on Zhou Yuan's behalf, saying he'd acted out of momentary foolishness. Then they described the miserable life I'd face after divorce. Finally, they tried to sway me with the child. saying I shouldn't let him grow up in a single-parent household. I handled each call politely but firmly. Eventually, I simply blocked all the unfamiliar numbers. The world became quiet again. I knew this was Zhou Yuan's last-ditch attempt. After all other methods failed, he had only one option left: using public opinion. Just as lawyer Zhang had predicted. Sure enough, a few days later, an article titled "Billionaire President Desperately Searches for His Wife Who Left Him After Giving Birth. How Deep Is Their Love?" began to spread across various financial and gossip media outlets. The article was written with great emotion, leaving readers in tears. In the article, Zhou Yuan was portrayed as a loving and devoted husband who cared deeply about his family. Despite his successful career, he put his family first. Due to work, he had to go abroad temporarily to handle an urgent matter. When he returned, he found that his wife had taken their newborn child and left without a word. He was frantic and did everything he could to find her, but to no avail. The article also included several photos of Zhou Yuan. One showed him working late at the office, with a worried expression on his face, looking tired and lonely. Another showed him standing in an empty nursery, his back bare and filled with regret. At the end of the article, there was a heartfelt confession from Zhou Yuan. "Wife, please come back. I know I was wrong. No matter where you are, please remember that I and this family will always be waiting for you." As soon as this article was published, it caused a huge uproar online. Zhou Yuan's social media accounts were flooded with messages of sympathy and support from netizens. "President Zhou is so devoted. Please come back. Sister-in-law. Could it be postpartum depression? The family needs to show more care. How can someone with such a great husband not understand? Any misunderstandings can be resolved through conversation. Don't let the child grow up without a father." For a while, I became the unreasonable and unappreciative bad woman. When Chen Jing saw the news, she was so angry she almost threw her phone. "Damn it. Zhou Yuan is completely shameless. He's twisting the truth and manipulating public opinion. Why doesn't he just try to win an Oscar?" She immediately tried to log into her account to argue with him. I stopped her. "Jing, don't be impulsive. If you argue now, people will think you're just a paid troll, and it'll expose our relationship. What should we do? Just let him keep spouting nonsense like that." Chen Jing was extremely anxious. "Let him act out his role," I said, staring at the press release with cold eyes. "The higher he climbs, the harder he'll fall when he crashes down." Zhou Yuan's move was indeed clever. He put himself in a position of moral superiority, taking advantage of the public's sympathy. If I stepped forward now and presented evidence of his infidelity, it would only lead to a never-ending battle of words. The public cares nothing about the truth when it comes to gossip. They only care whether the story is juicy enough. I can't let him drag me into this mess. What I need to do is take care of the problem at its root. I called Lawyer Zhang. "Lawyer Zhang, the time is ripe. I understand, Ms. Song." Lawyer Zhang replied calmly and firmly. "The court summons will be delivered to Zhou Yuan's office this afternoon. Also, those pieces of evidence we collected earlier, I've already had them properly documented by a professional notary firm. They can be submitted to the court at any time. Or to the media," added attorney Zhang. "Good." After hanging up the phone, I opened the company's project plan. If Zhou Yuan wants to wage a battle of public opinion, then I'll play along. But not in the gossip sections, but on the business battlefield. Doesn't he want to maintain his image as a successful entrepreneur? Then I'll use my expertise to defeat him in his own field. I need to make him understand. I, Song Si, am never anyone else's pawn. Leaving him won't mean suffering or failure for me. On the contrary, I'll live a better life. That's the ultimate revenge against him. That afternoon, a court summons and an official letter from my lawyer were delivered to Zhou Yuan. The contents of the lawyer's letter were simple. First, Mr. Zhou Yuan is required to immediately cease all acts that violate Ms. Song Si's right to reputation. He must also remove all false reports and issue a public apology. Second, given that Mr. Zhou Yuan had an improper relationship with Ms. Su Wan during their marriage, and made substantial financial gifts to her, we reserve the right to recover any jointly owned property involved. Third, we have all the evidence of Mr. Zhou Yuan's infidelity during the marriage. If he continues to try to manipulate public opinion, we will make all the evidence public. I can imagine how upset Mr. Zhou Yuan will be upon reading this letter. The elaborate love story he had crafted has been completely shattered by just one legal letter from me. He thinks he's on top of the game. But he doesn't realize I've already reached the 5th level. The game has just begun. The door to Zhou Yuan's office was tightly closed. But Li Hang, his assistant, and everyone in the secretariat outside could clearly hear the sound of porcelain breaking coming from inside, one sound after another, like rhythmic beats striking everyone's hearts. No one dared to breathe. They had never seen President Zhou like this before. In the eyes of all employees, Zhou Yuan was always calm, composed, and in control of everything, even in the face of major business crises. He would merely frown slightly and then use clear instructions to resolve the situation. But now, he resembled a wild animal trapped in a cage, furious and powerless. Li Hang held the court summons that had just arrived. The edges of the paper were soaked with sweat from his palms. Next to it was the lawyer's letter, written in stern terms. Every word was like a loud slap across Zhou Yuan's face, and also across the entire company's public relations team. Just moments earlier, they had portrayed President Zhou as a deeply affectionate and wonderful man. Yet soon after, his wife's divorce summons arrived. The reason? Infidelity during marriage. It was simply the biggest joke of the year. Public opinion online was starting to change. Among the comments that initially supported Zhou Yuan, some skeptical voices began to appear. If it's the man's fault, and the woman leaves home with the child after giving birth, that seems plausible too. I expect a twist to this story. It doesn't seem that simple. That lawyer's letter is interesting. She directly named the mistress, Su Wan. The public relations manager's phone kept ringing non-stop. Standing trembling beside Li Hang, he asked, "Assistant Li, what should we do now?" "President Zhou, wait," was all Li Hang said. Finally, the office door opened. Zhou Yuan stepped forward. He had changed his clothes and combed his hair neatly. His face showed no expression at all. Only his bloodshot eyes revealed the loss of control he had just experienced. "Notify the public relations department." His voice was hoarse. "Delete all related press releases." "Ah, President Zhou, what about what we've already done?" The public relations manager was stunned. "Delete them all," Zhou Yuan repeated, his gaze sharp as a knife. "I don't want to see anything about this on any platform. If this isn't handled properly, you won't need to come to work tomorrow." The public relations manager trembled with fear, nodding repeatedly before rushing back to his department. "Li Hang." Zhou Yuan turned to his assistant. "President Zhou, please command. Give me lawyer Zhang's number." Zhou Yuan dialed Zhang Qi's number again. This time, the anger and authority in his voice were gone. What replaced it was exhaustion, extreme and overwhelming. "Attorney Zhang, this is Zhou Yuan." "Hello, Mr. Zhou." Zhang Qi's tone was, as always, professional and calm. "What exactly does she want?" Zhou Yuan asked. The question sounded so helpless. "What my client wants is clearly stated in the complaint. Besides divorce, what else does she want?" There was supplication in Zhou Yuan's voice. "All she wants is a divorce and custody of the child." Attorney Zhang said each word carefully. "Money, shares, a house. I can give her all of that, as long as she withdraws her lawsuit, as long as she Mr. Zhou." Zhang Qi interrupted him. "To be honest, it seems you still don't understand what Ms. Song really wants. What she wants isn't your wealth, but to leave you and start a new life. That's what's truly important to her." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Zhou Yuan held his phone, leaning against the cold wall. For the first time, he felt what despair was. He realized that everything he took pride in, his wealth, status, resources, all became worthless in the face of Song Si's resolute departure. He had nothing to offer as leverage in negotiations with her. Meanwhile, in the conference room of Chi CI Company, Song CI was giving a presentation to her team. "So, our first target client is the Fengyuk Group," she said, pointing at the logo on the PPT. Her eyes sparkled with confidence. "Their fall product launch is in 2 months. From what I know, they're not satisfied with their current advertising agency. This is our opportunity." The team members listened intently, their eyes gleaming with excitement. After the meeting, Song CI received a message from lawyer Zhang. The message summarized the contents of his conversation with Zhou Yuan. Finally, lawyer Zhang added, "Ms. Song, he can't hold on much longer." Song CI stared at those words, her expression unchanged. She simply replied calmly. Understood. Thank you for your hard work. Then, she turned off her phone and began to prepare for the afternoon meeting. In Zhou Yuan's world, chaos reigned, but her new world had just begun. Sunlight streamed through the blinds, shining warmly and brightly on her. The Elegance Group is a well-known luxury women's clothing brand in China. Their brand philosophy has always been elegance, independence, and confidence. This aligns perfectly with Song Si's current mindset. More importantly, over the past 5 years, the brand's marketing efforts have been handled by Zhou Yuan's company. Song Si knows Zhou Yuan's company's operations all too well. While they're large-scale and have efficient processes, this also means rigidity and a lack of innovation, especially when dealing with long-term clients like the Elegance. They tend to fall into an arrogant mindset. Their proposals are always predictable and lack originality. What Song Si needs to do is use the sharpest tool possible to break through their seemingly impenetrable defenses. She led her team through countless sleepless nights, working on everything from market research and customer analysis to creative concepts. She personally oversaw every detail. In the end, a plan that could be considered perfect was presented to her. This plan completely overturned Fengya's traditional marketing approach. It was bold, innovative, and sure to generate a lot of buzz. When Chen Jing came to see her, she was working with her team on the final draft of the proposal. Oh my God, Director Song, are you trying to steal our business? Chen Jing couldn't help but marvel at the brilliant ideas on the PPT. This isn't about stealing money, it's about getting back what belongs to me, said Song Si with a smile. Zhou Yuan's company is also competing in this bid, right? Chen Jing asked. Of course. Well, that's going to be interesting, said Chen Jing, clearly enjoying herself. I really want to see Zhou Yuan's face when he finds out that it was you, his ex-wife, whom he looks down on, who knocked him out of the competition. I have no interest in seeing his face, said Song Si. All I care about is whether we can win or not. On the day of the bidding, Song Si wore a professionally tailored suit, with her long hair tied back, giving her a neat and elegant appearance. When she entered the meeting room of Fengya Group, she ran into Zhou Yuan's team. Leading the team was one of Zhou Yuan's most trusted deputy managers. Upon seeing Song Si, he froze for a moment, his eyes filled with mixed emotions: surprise, disdain, and wariness. He probably never expected that the wife who used to follow Zhou Yuan around, smiling gently, would now stand there as his competitor. Song Si ignored his gaze, simply nodded at him with a smile, then walked in. She was assigned to present her proposal before Zhou Yuan's company. Throughout the presentation, Song Si performed excellently. She was confident, composed, logical, and persuasive, turning a complex and ambitious idea into something vivid, interesting, and captivating to listen to. When she finished speaking and bowed in thanks, warm applause rang out throughout the conference room. The elegant company's chairman, a graceful woman in her 50s, looked at Song Si with admiration in her eyes. Song Si knew she had won half of this battle. The results were announced 3 days later. Cheatsy Company won the contract to manage Elegant Group's branding for the next 3 years, by a huge margin. The moment the news spread, the small office erupted in cheers. Song Si's phone also received a congratulatory message from Chen Jing. Great job. I heard Zhou Yuan went absolutely crazy in his office, berating that deputy manager mercilessly. Apparently, he still doesn't know that Cheatsy is run by you. All he knows is that he's been humiliated by some obscure small company. Song Si glanced at the message, a slight smile appearing on her lips. She picked up the internal phone and said to her assistant, "Let everyone know that I'll be treating everyone tonight. We'll go to Wangjiang Pavilion to celebrate." Meanwhile, dozens of kilometers away, in another office building, Zhou Yuan sat in the president's office, his face pale as clay. He had just ended a call with the chairman of Fengya Group. The man's tone was polite, but his message was clear. They needed something new, and Zhou Yuan's company couldn't provide it. Find out everything about this company. He snapped at his trembling vice president. Who exactly is behind Cheatsy? Why didn't we hear anything about them before? The vice president, drenched in sweat, handed over a document nervously. President Zhou, we found out. This company was registered just last month. The legal representative is Song Si. The office fell dead silent. Zhou Yuan's face gradually lost all color. He slowly, syllable by syllable, pronounced that name. Chi. CI Song. CI. Finally, he understood. It wasn't just a ordinary business failure. It was a subtle battle waged against him by Song CI. She didn't cry. Didn't make a scene. She simply used the very method he took pride in to deal him the most devastating blow. An overwhelming sense of panic seized his heart in an instant. He realized that, perhaps, he had never truly known the woman who had shared his bed for 7 years. Humiliation, anger, and fear, something he refused to admit even to himself. Complex emotions, like a giant web, trapped Zhou Yuan tightly. He couldn't accept it. He couldn't believe that the woman who once obeyed him without question, who regarded him as her world, had now become his rival in business. And worse, she'd made him suffer such a humiliating defeat. All his anxiety and frustration found an outlet at once. He had to find her. Right now, he wanted to confront her and find out what she really wanted. This time, he didn't go through his assistant or lawyers. He personally mobilized every connection and resource he could. The company's registration information was public. Soon, he found the address of Chi Ci Compania's shared office space he'd never heard of before. Zhou Yuan drove at full speed. That name kept echoing in his mind. Chi Ci. Song Ci. Good. Very good. She actually used this method to remind him of her existence. When he rushed into the modern office building and announced Chi Ci at the reception desk, he was completely tense. Like a bow pulled taut. The receptionist was startled by his gloomy expression and intense aura, and quickly pointed in the right direction. He strode forward. Then, he saw her. In an open-plan office area, there was a separate glass office. The door bore the Chi Ci logo. Through the transparent glass walls, he immediately spotted the person who haunted his dreams and filled him with hatred. Song Ci was standing in front of a whiteboard, holding a marker. She was explaining something to her team. Her face showed a focused and confident expression. That glow was something Zhou Yuan hadn't seen on her face in far too long. In fact, in his memory, Song Ci had never appeared so vivid and real. In his thoughts, she was always gentle and quiet, like a background painting that needed to be carefully cherished. But the woman before him was the only protagonist in this painting. Fury, mixed with an indescribable sense of jealousy, overwhelmed him for a moment. Without knocking, he pushed the door open and rushed in. Song Ci. He growled her name. The discussions in the conference room ceased instantly. Everyone's gaze fell on this unwelcome visitor. The smile on Song Ci's face froze the moment she saw him. But it was just a brief moment of surprise. The next second, her expression returned to calmness. As calm as an unfathomable lake. Please step outside for 5 minutes, she said to her team. Her voice steady. The young employees exchanged glances, but still obediently stood up and left one after another. The large office was now empty except for the two of them. What are you doing here? Song Ci spoke first, her tone distant, as if addressing a stranger. What am I doing here? Zhou Yuan was angered by her cold attitude. He stepped forward, pressing closer to her. I'd rather ask you, what do you want to do? Start a company? Steal my clients? Is this how you plan to get back at me? His voice was filled with accusation and reproach. Song Ci looked at him and suddenly found it amusing. Zhou Yuan, do you really think too highly of yourself? I start a company for myself. For my daughter. For my own life. It has nothing to do with you. As for your clients, business is like war. The highest bidder wins. The best survives. If you lose, it simply means your team isn't as good as mine. Her words were calm, clear, and devastatingly sharp. Every word struck Zhou Yuan right where it hurt. Zhou Yuan trembled with anger. Song Ci, don't forget who gave you everything you have now. The money for your college education. The capital to start your company. I paid for my college tuition and living expenses with my own scholarships and part-time jobs. Song Ci interrupted coldly. As for the money to start the company, it was part of my premarital assets. Plus, it was the commission I deserved from managing your investments over the years. Do you really think I'm that clueless housewife who knows nothing about numbers? Zhou Yuan was completely stunned. It was as if he were meeting her for the first time, looking at her with completely new eyes. There's no point in continuing like this, he said softly, tiredly. Let's stop. Withdraw the lawsuit, close the company, and come home with me. I'll forget about the past. Song Si stared at him as if he were telling the biggest joke ever. Go home. Which home? That villa filled only with nannies and cold furniture. Zhou Yuan, you still don't understand. Between us. It's over long ago. It ended the moment you abandoned me in the delivery room for Su Wan's sake. With that, she turned and pressed the internal phone on the desk. Security department. This is Chitsi Company on the 15th floor. There's an intruder harassing employees. Please come and deal with it. Zhou Yuan stared at her in disbelief. She actually called the security to throw him out. Song Si, how dare you? Why shouldn't I? Song Si met his gaze. Her eyes free of fear or hesitation. Mr. Zhou, please leave my company immediately. Otherwise, I'll accuse you of trespassing and harassment. Soon, 2 uniformed security officers arrived. Sir, please come with us. Zhou Yuan looked at Song Si's cold, resolute face. And his heart sank little by little. The security officers escorted him out of the office. Behind him, the glass door slowly closed. He saw Song Si turn around, pick up the eraser, and carefully erase every chart and diagram on the whiteboard that he couldn't understand. It was as though she was trying to completely erase him from her life. The moment the security guards pulled him out of the office building, Zhou Yuan felt as though all his strength had been drained from him. The sunlight was blinding, making him feel dizzy. Passers-by around him cast curious glances at him. Those looks felt like needles piercing his pride. He struggled to free himself from the security guard's grasp and tried to tidy his disheveled collar. In his mind, over and over again, he saw Song Si's cold face. And her words, please leave my company immediately. She treated him like Trasha, a worthless person who needed to be gotten rid of. How could this happen? How had things turned out like this? He started the car and drove aimlessly down the streets. The city's noise became blurred and unreal through the car window. For the first time, he felt loneliness, a deep, endless loneliness. He took out his phone, instinctively wanting to call someone. He searched through his contacts, but couldn't find anyone to talk to. Li Hang. He was his subordinate, he couldn't show weakness in front of him. Those business partners, they'd only make fun of him. Su Wan. He thought of her, the woman who once made him feel relaxed, amused, and allowed him to escape the dullness of marriage. But now, thinking of her only made him irritable. If it weren't for going to Paris with her, he wouldn't have come back to find his home empty. If she hadn't called Song Si on her own, things might not have gotten so complicated. He blamed everyone else for his mistakes, but he never considered that the real problem was himself. He parked the car by the river and lit a cigarette. As the smoke curled around him, his thoughts wandered back to years ago. In college. That's when he first met Song Si. She wore a white dress and stood in front of the library's bookshelves. The sunlight streaming through the windows gave her a golden glow. At that time, he had nothing, only passion and unrealistic dreams. It was Song Si who was always by his side. During the toughest times of his business, he couldn't even afford the rent. It was Song Si who used the money she earned as a tutor to buy him a bowl of hot beef noodles. When his company received its first big order, he was so excited he couldn't sleep all night. It was Song Si who stayed with him in their small rented apartment, drinking cheap beer and dreaming about the future. He once said to her, "Cece, when I succeed, I'll make you the happiest woman in the world." He thought he had done it. He gave her a big house, a luxury car, and endless credit cards. He told her she didn't need to work anymore, she could simply be his wife. He thought this was the happiness she wanted. He was wrong. Completely wrong. What he gave her was never what she really wanted. He was simply using material things to fill the void in his emotions and to compensate for his laziness. As a cigarette burned to the end, it burned his finger. He snapped out of his thoughts. No. He couldn't just give up like this. He couldn't lose her. And certainly not his child. He extinguished the cigarette and started the car again. In his eyes, the last trace of warmth was replaced by determination. If soft methods didn't work, then he'd use force. Song Si, this is you forcing me to do this. Meanwhile, at Chitsi Company, Song Si quickly regained her composure and returned to work. Zhou Yuan's appearance was like a minor interruption that left little impact on her. In fact, it only strengthened her resolve to become stronger. Only by being strong enough could she protect herself and her daughter from anyone's abuse. In the afternoon, she received a private call from Ms. Dong. the chairman of Fenya Group. Director Song. I hope I'm not bothering you, Ms. Dong's voice was gentle yet firm. Please, don't be so formal. Just call me Song Ci. Okay, Song Ci. Ms. Dong smiled. Both I and the board of directors are very pleased with your proposal. Personally, I really admire you. Thank you for your approval. Do you have time tonight? I'd like to invite you to dinner on a personal note. After a moment's thought, Song Xia understood Ms. Dong's intentions. This wasn't just a dinner invitation. It was also a gesture. A signal of an alliance. It's an honor. She replied readily. Zhou Yuan began his counterattack. He knew that it was easy to crush a startup from a commercial perspective. But he didn't do that. He knew it would only push Song Ci further away from him. What he wanted to attack was her weakest point. What she cared about most. Their daughter. Through his lawyer, he filed an emergency petition with the court. He claimed that Song Ci was mentally unstable and likely suffered from severe postpartum depression. He also alleged that she had taken the infant, who wasn't even 1 year old, without notifying the guardian, which constituted malicious concealment. He asked the court to immediately revoke Song Ci's custody rights and allow him, as the father, to take care of the child. The petition was written with emotion. He also attached what he called evidence. Medical records showing Song Ci's occasional mood swings during pregnancy, and Aunt Wang's testimony, saying that Song Ci would sometimes sit alone in a daze during the postpartum period, looking depressed. Even more, he hired some psychologists who issued ambiguous evaluation reports. His motives were vile and his methods despicable. Lawyer Zhang sent that document to Song Ci right away. He's insane, said Lawyer Zhang. Song Ci trembled with rage as she read the document. She could endure Zhou Yuan's betrayal, his disregard for her, and his attempts to undermine her career. But she could never tolerate him using such despicable tactics to slander her and try to take away her child. That was her bottom line. It was her life. Zhou Yuan, you've touched my limits. Almost simultaneously, new developments emerged online. Some influential parenting bloggers and so-called family relationship experts began posting articles and videos with sensational headlines. Be alert. Mothers with postpartum depression might do irreversible things to their children. Children aren't private property. Is it illegal for a mother to take the child away unilaterally? Although the article didn't name her directly, all the case analyses subtly pointed to her and Zhou Yuan. They were creating a certain public opinion atmosphere, trying to portray Song Ci as a dangerous mother who was emotionally unstable and unfit to raise children. Zhou Yuan, on the other hand, was presented as a devoted father who would do anything to protect his child. This tactic was even more vicious than anything they had tried before. It was heartless. When Chen Jing saw these news reports, she rushed straight to Song Ci's office. Cici, this isn't just a simple divorce anymore. It's a war. It's an attempt to destroy someone's character. We must fight back. Song Ci sat there, pale-faced. But her gaze was resolute. She knew that silence and surrender wouldn't solve anything anymore. When someone starts throwing filth at you with no regard for consequences, your only option is to take up arms and make sure they can never get back on their feet again. Attorney Zhang, she said, dialing the number. Ms. Song, I'm currently drafting a counter-statement. No, Song Ci interrupted. That won't be enough. What I want isn't an explanation, I want him completely ruined. On the other end of the line, Attorney Zhang remained silent for a few seconds. I understand. Compile all the evidence of his infidelity and send it to the media. Song Ci's voice was as cold as ice. Also, contact that prestigious financial magazine I told you about earlier. I want to give an interview. Ms. Song, are you sure? Attorney Zhang seemed worried. Once we go this far, there's no turning back. Your private life will be completely exposed to the public. I'm sure, said Song Ci. If he wants to wage a battle of public opinion, I'll fight to the end. I want everyone to see what kind of hypocrite President Zhou really is. I want him to pay the most painful price for every word he says and every action he takes. After hanging up the phone, Song Ci turned on her computer and created a new document. The document was titled, My 7 Years, My Nothingness, and My New Beginnings. She began typing. She revealed, bit by bit, the details of that marriage that had long been buried in her heart. All those unspeakable hardships, those tears shed in the dead of night, those efforts that went unnoticed. And then there was that Paris trip that destroyed her completely. She wasn't trying to arouse pity. She was simply stating a fact. How a woman goes from full of hope to utter despair. Zhou Yuan, you destroyed all my dreams about love. Then, I'll destroy what you value most. Fame, fortune, and glory. The interview with the financial magazine was scheduled for 3 days later. During those 3 days, Song Si worked non-stop. On one hand, she had to deal with the overwhelming amount of work piled up at the company. The elegant project had already started, and no mistakes were allowed. On the other hand, she had to repeatedly discuss every detail of the interview and every piece of evidence that needed to be made public with her legal team. Chen Jing stayed by her side. Watching as Song Si grew thinner by the day, she felt heartbroken. Cici, maybe we should just give up. Chen Jing suggested. Let's ignore him and take our child to a place where no one knows us. And start over. Song Si shook her head. Jing, you don't understand. This isn't about simply fighting for pride. If I back down now, I'll forever bear the stigma of being mentally unstable. My daughter is growing up. People will point at her and say, your mother is a madwoman. I can't let her live under such a shadow. In this battle, I'm not fighting for myself. I'm fighting for her. I want to tell her clearly that her mother isn't crazy, that she's a warrior. On the day of the interview, Song Si wore a white shirt and light makeup. She appeared calm, gentle, and even more beautiful than before. But in her eyes, there was a powerful intensity that stirred the heart. Interviewing her was a well-known female journalist known for her sharpness and insight. The interview began. The journalist's first question was straightforward. Ms. Song, what's your response to Mr. Zhou Yuan's claims that you suffer from severe postpartum depression and hid your child? Song Si looked directly into the camera and spoke calmly. Firstly, I admit that I experienced low mood for a while after giving birth. I think this is a normal phase that many new mothers go through. But that's completely different from being mentally unstable. I receive regular psychological counseling. My doctor can confirm that my mental state is completely healthy. As for hiding the child, that's completely nonsense. I left that home because my marriage had come to an end. I took my daughter with me because I'm her mother, her legal guardian. It's common sense that a newborn baby needs its mother's care the most. Her responses were calm, reasonable, and well-founded. So, could you tell us why, right after giving birth, you decided to get a divorce? The reporter pressed. Song Si's gaze dropped for a moment. When she looked up again, her eyes were slightly red, but her expression remained firm. Because when I needed him most, he wasn't there. While I was lying in the delivery room, fighting for my life due to severe bleeding. My husband, Mr. Zhou Yuan, was in Paris, thousands of kilometers away, spending a romantic Valentine's Day with another woman. These words were like a bombshell. In an instant, the atmosphere in the entire interview room became tense. Are you referring to Ms. Su Wan? Yes. Do you have any evidence? Of course. Song Si handed over a stack of documents to the camera. The first document was Zhou Yuan's flight ticket to Paris was on the same flight as Su Wan, sitting next to her. The second document showed that they stayed at the same 5-star hotel in Paris. The third document contained receipts from luxury stores, showing that Zhou Yuan spent millions of yuan on purchases for Su Wan using his credit card during his time in Paris. The fourth and most damning document was Zhou Yuan's bank statement. The day before Su Wan gave birth, he transferred 5.2 million yuan to her account. The note accompanying the transfer read, "Baby, Happy Valentine's Day." When these pieces of evidence were clearly displayed to viewers across the country through the high-definition camera, everyone fell silent. All the sympathy for Zhou Yuan and all the criticism of Song Si turned into a huge joke at that moment. At the end of the interview, the reporter asked her, "Ms. Song, after going through all this, what are your plans for the future?" Song Si showed her first genuine smile in a long time. "I'll continue to run my company and make it stronger. I'll raise my daughter with love, so she can grow up healthy and happy in a loving environment. I'll teach her that a woman's worth isn't determined by marriage or men. We can be wives and mothers, but above all, we're ourselves." After the interview was broadcast, public opinion completely changed. Zhou Yuan's stock price, along with those of his company, plummeted overnight. The image of him as a romantic CEO he'd painstakingly built was completely destroyed. He became the subject of widespread condemnation online, called a scumbag, a liar, and a hypocrite. Soo-won was also completely exposed and humiliated, becoming the mistress that everyone wanted to attack. All of her endorsements and jobs were taken away from her. Jo Eun locked himself in his office, staring at Song Si's calm yet determined face on the computer screen. He knew he had lost completely. What he lost wasn't just his reputation or his career. What he lost was the best Song Si-woo once saw only him in her eyes and was willing to give everything for him. His phone rang. It was lawyer Zhang. Mr. Jo, my client agrees to talk with you. Jo Eun held the phone, his hands trembling violently. It took all his strength to utter one word. Okay. The meeting place was agreed upon to be attorney Zhang's office. It was a quiet conference room, devoid of any unnecessary decorations. Jo Eun arrived first. When Song Si entered, she saw him sitting by the window. In just a few days, he seemed to have aged 10 years. His once neatly groomed hair was now messy. His expensive suit also appeared tattered and worn out. Blue stubble covered his chin. His eyes were sunken and bloodshot. Hearing the door open, he looked up. Their eyes met. His gaze was filled with complex emotions. Regret, pain, pleading, and something he himself hadn't realized: despair. Song Si's gaze, however, remained calm and steady, like an ancient well that could no longer be disturbed by any ripples. She wore a beige-colored suit and had light makeup on. She appeared composed, calm, and elegant. It was as though the public outrage that had swept the internet had nothing to do with her at all. She was just a professional woman there to handle a routine contract. Attorney Zhang followed behind her and placed a document gently in the center of the conference table. Mr. Z. Ho, this is the final version of the divorce agreement. Ms. Song has waived her claims for compensation regarding your infidelity during the marriage. She only requests that the marital assets be divided according to the law, and that she be given full custody of the daughter. If you have no objections, you may sign it now. Jo Eun didn't even look at the agreement. His eyes were fixed intently on Song Si. His voice was hoarse, as if rubbed raw by sandpaper. Do we really have to go this far? Song Si didn't answer. She simply pulled out a chair and sat across from him, looking at him with almost indifferent eyes. I was wrong, said Jo Eun. I truly realize my mistake. I shouldn't have left you when you needed me most. I shouldn't have been deceived by Soo-won. I shouldn't have used such despicable methods to hurt you. Please forgive me. Okay. Let's start over. I swear I'll devote all my attention to you and our child. I'll be a good husband and a good father. Every word he said was filled with sincerity. If Song Si had heard this half a year ago, she might have been moved or softened. But now, she found it ridiculous. Jo Eun, she finally spoke, her voice cold. You don't love me, and you're not sorry for hurting me. You simply can't accept your failure. You can't accept that the business empire you built is on the verge of collapse because of me. You can't accept that your pride in control has completely failed with me. Why? All you really love is yourself, your reputation, your wealth. Now that these things are threatened, you remember me. Remember this wife, who can help you restore everything. Song Si's words were like a sharp scalpel, precisely cutting through all his false pretenses and revealing his selfish nature. Jo Eun's face turned increasingly pale. No. That's not true. His defenses sounded weak and futile. Sign it, Song Si said, pushing the agreement toward him. By signing, it will be a relief for both of us. Jo Eun stared at the printed words, his hands trembling uncontrollably. I want to see my child. He spoke in a pleading tone. Since she was born, I've never held her properly. Song Si's gaze finally flickered with cold mockery. You have no right to do that, she said. The moment you decided to use postpartum depression as a pretext to slander me and take her away, you lost all right to be her father. Jo Eun, my daughter. She will have a bright and glorious future, and in that future, there won't be any place for you. Those words became the final straw that broke Jo Eun. He could no longer hold back. His body collapsed forward, his hands resting on the conference table, his head buried in shame. A long suppressed, painful sob escaped from his throat. A man who once ruled the world was now crying like a child. Song Si watched him quietly. There was no joy or pity in her heart, only calmness. Like dust settling after a storm. It was all over. She picked up the pen on the table and signed her name on the agreement. Song Si. 2 simple characters. Written clearly and firmly. She placed the pen beside the agreement. Then, she stood up. Attorney Zhang. Please take care of the rest. After saying that, she didn't look at Zhou Yuan again. She turned around and walked toward the door. Cece. Zhou Yuan suddenly raised his head and shouted after her. Don't go. Song Si didn't slow down in the slightest. She pushed the door open and stepped outside. The hallway outside was bathed in bright sunlight. The warm light covered her, as if draping her in a golden cloak. The door to the conference room slowly closed behind her, cutting off both the man's crying and her entire dark past. She took a deep breath, smelling the scent of freedom in the air. She took out her phone and dialed Chen Jing's number. Jing, I've finished everything. Her voice sounded relieved and cheerful. Tonight, let's take the baby out for a big meal. On the other end of the line, Chen Jing cheered excitedly. A year later, Cheatsy Company had become a rising star in the industry, winning numerous awards. Song Si was the cover star of the latest issue of Business Women magazine. In the photo, she holds a little girl who has just learned to walk, smiling like a little sun. Her face is filled with confidence, composure, and happiness. The magazine's title was Rebirth from Ashes, Song Si and Her Business Empire. Just a month before that magazine was published, Financial News reported briefly that Zhou Yuan's company had filed for bankruptcy due to poor management and insolvency. He himself had long disappeared from the public eye. No one cared where he had gone. It was as though he had never existed in this world. The sun was shining brightly, and the breeze was gentle. Song Si held her daughter's hand as they walked downstairs from the company building. Her daughter pointed at a white cloud floating in the sky and said in a childish voice, Mom, look. Song Si looked up, squinting her eyes. The sky was a brilliant blue,